With all the hype around ApeCoin today, I will try to dissect it and answer the ultimate question. Is Ape a cash grab or a legit game changer? You see, a lot of people are excited about Ape because it's tied to the Bored Ape Yacht Club, but I don't think that's strong enough of a reason to invest. In fact, I researched this project and I discovered a ton of risks that people are missing. But before we get there, why do some people call this a cash grab? Well, Yuga Labs, the company behind Ape Yacht Club, essentially cashed out in three separate ways. Number one, they sold their equity to VCs. Number two, they sold their NFT collections. And number three, now they are making money from these ape coins. Critics say this is just another scheme to extract money from the retail investors and the coin itself is pretty worthless. In just a minute, I'll share my thoughts on that criticism. But first, we will divide the video into two sections, the bullish one and the bearish one. Let's start with the bullish one. The team. Let's talk about the team. The team behind the entire ecosystem is Yuga Labs, and they are quite impressive. Their employees come from the top tech companies and game studios across the world. One of their minority partners is Guy Osheri, who once managed U2 and Madonna as part of his talent management agency. The CEO, Nicole Muniz, has over a decade's worth of experience scaling brands and working with clients such as Google, HBO, and Spotify. Together, this team has built a rocket ship, pulling in over $100 million in revenue back in 2021. This mostly came from their Bored Ape and Mutant Ape NFT collections. Their early success has caught the attention of top VCs, and just 1 month ago, they raised $450 million at a whopping $4 billion valuation. This round was led by Andreessen Horowitz, while Animoca Brands and FTX Ventures also participated. You may be wondering now, how did Yuga Labs build this rocket ship with so many copycats and competitors trying to do the same thing? Well, I'd say it's because of their intentional three-pronged strategy. First, they focus on celebrities as marketing and growth strategy. Over the past year, we've seen huge celebrities join the Bored Ape Yacht Club by buying one of their NFTs. I'm talking Justin Bieber, Eminem, Snoop Dogg, Steve Curry, Tom Brady, and the list goes on and on. Every time a new celebrity joins the club, it generates a fresh wave of exposure and hype for the project. Other celebrities see this and they're like, dang, I should join too. And these are super rich multimillionaires, so a six-figure NFT is nothing for them. That's why the price continues to grow, even though most retail investors are priced out by now. Second, they gave their NFT holders full commercial rights to the underlying intellectual property. This means that if you hold a Bored Ape, you can create content around it, you can sell merchandise, and do a bunch of other commercial activities. You may not think this is an important aspect, but other big NFT collections actually took the opposite approach. For example, if you hold a CryptoPunk, you do not have the right to its underlying intellectual property. The parent company of CryptoPunks very specifically wrote that in their terms and conditions. As you can imagine, the community was livid about that because those terms and conditions go against everything that we stand for. Third, they created the first NFT monopoly ever. They did this by buying the intellectual property to CryptoPunks and Meebits from Lara Labs. And by doing so, they put the top two NFT collections under one umbrella. With these blue chip collections in tow, they are now ready to expand their universe, and a key part of that is their token ApeCoin. ApeCoin is a utility and governance token that was airdropped to all Bored Ape and Mutant Ape holders. It was a great way for long-time holders to get some liquidity without having to sell their NFTs. It's interesting how Ape got listed on all the top exchanges from day one. That really speaks to how well connected the team is in order to pull that off. Their plan is to make this coin an integral piece of the Ape ecosystem. It will be integrated with every new product or service that they put out. An example of this is the Other Side Metaverse project that was announced recently with huge fanfare. We don't know too much about that yet, besides that Ape will play a big role in it. They are going to hold land sales for this metaverse soon, and it looks like you will have to use ApeCoin to purchase a digital piece of land. Besides that, Ape holders can vote on governance proposals, access exclusive parts of their ecosystem, and perhaps even receive future airdrops. But I think the best part about Ape is that it's not limited to what Yuga Labs does with it. They made it an open ecosystem for anyone to accept Ape and build on top of it. For example, Animoca Brands has a game called Benji Bananas where you'll be able to earn ApeCoin from playing it. Enway is another company that's creating a game that will be integrated with Ape. Besides gaming, there is a lot of real-world merchants and retailers that are accepting Ape for payment. 11 Residences in Miami, Florida, a pop-up restaurant called Bored and Hungry in LA, and also Time Magazine. This is a lot of utility for Ape, and as long as the team and community continues to integrate Ape into everything that they do, that should be amazing for the token's demand. Now, before you get too bullish and decide to ape in, hold up, because we'll get started with the second part of the video. We're going to talk about the risk of this project. First and foremost is regulation. ApeCoin was created in a very specific way, most likely to avoid scrutiny from regulators. But after digging in, I'm not sure they'll get away with it. So it actually was on the Yuga Labs that created ApeCoin. It was a DAO called ApeCoin DAO. This is a distinct entity from Yuga Labs, and they specifically never promised any profits to any token holders. The idea behind creating the separate DAO stems from the Hinman speech, which essentially states that a crypto coin is not a security as long as the project is sufficiently decentralized. Because if that's true, then you are not relying on a specific person or group to carry out essential activities. This is why no one on the ApeCoin DAO's board is from Yuga. Instead, it consists of people from early backers and investors, and the plan is for the DAO to vote on future board members after the initial 6-month period. But then the question becomes whether or not the setup is actually decentralized. Because out of 1 billion total Ape tokens, insiders have almost 70% of the initial amount. Yuga Labs, their founders, and early investors get a combined 370 million tokens out of the initial 530 million. The remaining tokens are allocated to the DAO's treasury. There is also the Ape Foundation, which is the sister entity to the DAO. It helps manage things the DAO wants to do, but that kind of makes it centralized, because we are relying on a very specific group's efforts here. But let's say that the SEC doesn't care and won't do anything for now. There's still a lot to dislike about their tokenomics. Specifically, there is a ton of tokens waiting to be unlocked and released into circulation. The tokens assigned to the DAO have a 4-year vesting schedule. Yuga Labs has a 1-year lockup plus a 3-year vesting schedule, and that's the same format for early investors and the Yuga founders. So that's a lot of supply that has yet to hit the markets and will be unlocked over the next 3 to 4 years. This selling pressure will have to be soaked up by market demand, or else it may negatively affect the price. But on a higher level, I just think that this project started with way too high of a valuation. Right now, it's at 4.6 billion market cap with a 16 billion fully diluted value, and they only launched a few weeks ago. I don't like projects that open with such a sky-high valuation because I think their growth potential is capped. I felt the same way about Immutable X. When that first hit the market, I was like, wow, IMX has so much potential, but I didn't buy in because it opened with too high of a market cap. It turns out my gut feeling was right because they bled value over the following months, and they are now at a much more reasonable valuation. I think something similar could happen to Ape if we're patient. Of course, this depends on how the rest of the crypto market go, and if we start on a bull run, then of course Ape could go much higher, but if we stay sideways or in a bear period, then I'm pretty confident that Ape will drop significantly from his current levels. So, with these good and bad points in my mind, I have to say that I'm still skeptical about buying Ape, at least for now. I have mixed feelings about this project. On one hand, I think Yuga Labs are masters at culture and community, two things that matter a ton in the crypto world. But on the other hand, I think that equity in Yuga Labs and their NFT collections are much more valuable than ApeCoin. It's not completely worthless like the critics say, but it's also a second or third tier asset in their ecosystem, in my opinion. But if they launch their own blockchain, like some people predict, then that changes everything. If there's an Ape chain that accepts Ape tokens for gas fees, then its current valuation would be much more reasonable. Let me know your thoughts on the comment section below, and that's all for today, and see you